Ohio Valley coaches from Dave Wojcik from Lindsley, Ryan Clifford from St. Clairsville, J.R. Batista from Bel Air, and Michael Gebbia from Wheeling Park. Thank you folks for coming. After Sunday night, we supposed to do a coaches show down this way. Right now we have a little bit of technical difficulties. Actually, can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you pretty good.
How about you, Coach Wojcik?
I can't hear you. No.
Coach
I mean,
Wojcik?
I can hear you, but not exactly what you're saying.
How about you, sir?
I'm close enough to you. So.
There we go.
Here, I'll turn it down. That music goes out from the background.
Yeah, he's going to turn it down.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
It's the music.
There we go. And once again, let's try this again live from Generations Restaurant and Pub. Ohio Valley Sports Online presents the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaching Show. With Coach Dave Wojcik from Lindsley, Coach Ryan Clifford from St. Clairsville, Coach J.R. Batista from Bel Air, and Coach Michael Gebbia from Wheeling Park. Hosted, sponsored by our host tonight, Generations Restaurant and Pub. First thing I want to do is thank Generations, Mike DePlaga, Mark Joseph for arranging this, setting it up, having us down here. And I want to thank all four of you coaches for just giving us a little bit of your time. I know it's a hectic season. I know, like today was a draw for both, and just thank you for taking time to come out and just share a little bit of your knowledge and background with us. There's Jason Jenkins, Bill Ellis, Dan Volgan, as always, Jim Jaggers, Huggins up above, watching over us. I want to start out with coaches. First of all, you can say whatever you want on the internet, so don't hold back. Just I'll go with one coach at a time. Just a little bit about yourself. Where you're from, the program. Do a little bit of background. I know all you guys, followed all you all the studs. So we'll start with the youngest, I believe. If I'm wrong, forgive me, Coach Clifford.
Well, that's great. Coach Jebb's a little younger than me, but
it's close.
It started off on a good note.
yeah, I'll take the compliment. Ryan Clifford, St. Clairsville. This is my 5th year as the head coach there. Feels like it's been 15 maybe.
Well, you've been around forever now.
Yeah, sat on the bench with my dad for about 20 years. Yeah, I'll take the compliment. Okay, I got a little feedback here. That's sorry.
Turn that down.
This is my 5th year as the head coach. Yeah, we currently sit right now 8-10. Played a really tough schedule. Still have some tough teams ahead of us. Jeb's waiting next week. Had our tournament draw today. We were the 9 seed East District, so right in the middle. Play the winner of Indian Creek and Beaver Local, and excited to be here. Thanks for what you're doing for high school basketball in the Valley.
Thank you. Once again, Coach Clifford from St. Clair. We'll go with Coach Gebbia since I was wrong.
I'm originally from Wheeling, West Virginia, played at Park, and then went to West Liberty, and I have now been the head coach. This is my 17th season. Sam Andy was there 30 years, and then I helped him for 4 years, and then came on. Also coached cross country for 8 years, and we still have a little bit of our season left in terms of regular season. Ohio started a little bit earlier, so we have our OVAC of course like everybody else, and then we still have a couple weeks of regular season after that. So just appreciate you guys, everything you guys do throughout the season, and putting this on tonight.
All right, thank you, Coach, and now we'll go with Coach J.R. Batista from Bel Air.
I'm the coach of Bel Air. We're 13-6 on this glorious season. Played Tuesday night against Martins Ferry. Hopefully you guys don't come, because last time you came we got beat by about 30. And it wasn't that close. If we could win, it'd be great. Maybe we get to play Lindsley, Coach Wojcik's team. They're loaded. I mean, just ask them. Fun fact, Coach Wojcik coached me at West Lib my freshman year. So all my bad qualities I got from him.
Wow, Coach. I guess that takes us to you, Coach Wojcik. What an intro.
He's throwing me under the bus there. Well, Dave Wojcik here from Lindsley, 4th season at Lindsley, 33rd year coaching, so been all over the place, too many places to name in college. I like my team. We're 12-6 on the year. I hope we have the opportunity to play Belair on Saturday, but we have to get by Caldwell Tuesday night at Caldwell, who's a very, very good team, well coached. So we're having a good year. We have 6 seniors, 4 juniors, 3 sophomores, and a freshman. So I have a good mix. Got good guys coming back. So I like my team. We play hard. I think we're fun to watch, and we can score the basketball.
All right, I'll start the questions out. We'll start with the Ohio coaches. We talked about it earlier. The draw was today. And I talked to Coach Batista earlier when they played Martin Ferry. How do you see 21 teams, or in your, JR, I think it's 16 in yours?
I think is it 15? I don't even know.
How do you, seriously, I mean, as an honest, as a coach, saying I can see 21 teams the right way or 15 teams the right way, or do we just say, heck with it, we're going to go on record and go from there?
Well, back in the day, it was kind of nuts. You would see the first 2 teams, they'd put them up on the board, and then they'd have a jar of pills.
That's
and
old
they'd
school,
give you a
man,
number.
right? That was old school. We liked it like that.
Like you could be 0-20 and get the number 2 pill and go something really good on the bracket. So it got a little better, but now we vote to seed everyone, but then you put yourself up on the bracket, which it's good if you get someone in front of you that doesn't know what they're doing and gives you a really good spot, like may have happened to Ryan today.
Well, I agree. I was looking at Division II, and then I'm like, man, St. Clairsville's got a pretty good draw out of that. They get a bye.
Well, it's only a good draw until game night.
Well, you know
Let's be
what I'm
honest.
saying, team-wise, I mean, if you're staying away from the 1, the 2, and the 3 to get out of the sectional, I thought that was a pretty good draw for you guys.
Yeah, for us sitting in the middle, you hope to have a game that you can win. We're going to play the winner of Indian Creek and Beaver. We've had competitive games with both of them during the season. So that's a chance to win the sectional. That's a good start. In the D2 East District, you got to go one game at a time. There's landmines all through that bracket. And, so we'll look at that one first. But, yeah, going to your seating question, I mean, the East District runs from Minerva to McConnellsville, Morgan to Zanesville. It's almost, you don't see everybody. It's almost impossible. Ohio's gone to the RPI system, which I think they're going to eventually use to seed the teams. That gives you a little bit of an indication because it includes strength of schedule and all those things. So I leaned on that in seeding some of those teams.
I like what you said earlier. We talked off air, Coach Clifford, about I want to be face-to-face. I want to know who put it to me in that room.
Yeah, they send you a voting matrix that tells how the teams voted you, but in the old days you used to sit in that room and they had to say, I vote for you.
Exactly.
And
you can see them.
Yes, and you can see them.
You know what I miss the most is when you went up to the Greek Orthodox Church. What's the place in Steubenville?
It's right there, right down about downtown.
And you'd go sit there and you would eat a meal. I mean, you can't imagine. The steak dinner, shrimp, the mushrooms with the crab meat. It was great. The best story ever is we're up there one year and Warren Hood was the AD at Martins Ferry. Great guy. He could eat like no other. So Coach Sack was the coach, and he was real health conscious. He wouldn't eat a steak. So they come out to Warren. Ferry had bought 2 steaks. They go, Mr. Hood, where you want this steak? He says, on a plate. It's a true story.
That's hilarious. Well, I'll get to Coach Jebbia and Coach Wojcik here. Coach Jebbia, you were explaining to me earlier how the West Virginia sectional goes. It's a little bit different than Ohio. And Coach Wojcik, and I'll belly off of that is you're in your tournament. The OVAC is your tournament. So, Coach Jebbia, if you want to explain to us how the sectional will go with your 4 teams in there.
Yeah, there's 8 teams in our region before in the section. So it's us, Brook, John Marshall, Morgantown. So that'll be seeded out. And the way it is right now, Morgantown would be 1, as they have 2 wins over us. We would be 2, and then probably Brook, and then JM, because Brook beat them. So we will all play each other. One plays 4, 2 plays 3. I think February 28th, and then the final will be March 2nd. Now, where it gets confusing to a regular basketball fan, if you make the sectional final in West Virginia, you go on to the regional bracket. If you win your sectional, you host. and if you lose, you go on the road. So it's a bizarre format. You think we could make a bracket like Ohio and Pennsylvania, who have bigger states, but we're still a little bit behind in some things. So, I mean, they do get the better teams to Charleston. I think one year University was 1, Morgantown was 3, and we were 5. So somebody got knocked out, but two got to go. But it's been this format since 2009, and I was in favor of neutral sites. The tournament should have like a different feel, and every other coach wanted home sites, so it didn't win the vote.
Didn't win the vote.
Yeah.
And Coach Wojcik, and then this is your tournament coming up with the OVACs. You got the 3 seed, I believe, and you're going to end up going to Caldwell. And I believe, just reading the papers, Caldwell's got one hell of a basketball player out there. What, 2,000 points? I think.
Yeah, the Lori kid. This is ours. I'm glad I don't have to worry about any kind of bracket seeding, all that type of stuff as far as that goes. But I sort of like my situation from the standpoint. Last year, I end our seasons with a win. Very few teams get to end their season with a win. And I didn't know how I would like that when I first took the job 4 years ago. Not, going to a sectional or a regional, but I'll be honest with you, I sort of like it. I'm done in February, and I can go out and do whatever I want to do. But we do have Caldwell. They're really good. The kid's a good player, can score the basketball, like you said. Yeah. He can score it from the three-point line. He can take it off the dribble, and he's got a good body on him. He's got a good frame on him. So we're going to have our hands full Tuesday night. But we're looking for a challenge, and that's why I think our schedule helps us. I want to try to play tough teams, as many hard games as we can. I think for 2 reasons. One, when you get in a situation like this, postseason, and then number 2, kids want to play against good competition, and they don't want to beat teams by 30 or 40. They want to be in a game, and I know for me as a coach, I want to coach in exciting games, not ones that, well, I know we're going to win by 30 tonight. I want to be challenged, and I think our kids have taken that role on as well.
I did, looking at your background, just reading a little bit, how you said you want to, bring in a nice, tough schedule, and you've done that. And, it is exciting to see. I remember the last time I talked to you, I know you won't remember, but you guys had just beat Big Red. We did the game. I was walking out as you were getting on your vans. I just remember saying it's a pleasure doing your game, Coach, because I like that brand of basketball. And, tell the guys about maybe some of these people don't know some of the teams on your schedule, because you play a tough schedule.
Yeah, I try to search out as many good teams as we can. Medina out of Ohio, I think they're D1 in Ohio, in a big school. Really good team, really well coached. We played Shelby out of Ohio. We played Akron Elliott out of Ohio, Armstrong out of PA, Parkersburg South, Morgantown. So I try to piece it together and try to put a good schedule together every year, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
My question to you 3 guys down here, on the younger guys, so I got that jab back in for you. There you go.
You still consider JR a younger guy?
Yeah, I'm not that young.
So he's my age.
This gray hair ain't tricking nobody.
Hey, but you guys took over jobs that had outstanding coaches before you. How did that, going into a situation to live up to their brand, you know what I'm saying? It's got to be tough, whoever wants to go first.
Well, I think you just got to be yourself. Kim Clifford, Sam Andy, Gina Morante laid the foundations there, and we just got to try to continue it. Got to be ourselves, add our own things in. All 3 schools usually have pretty good talent, so I think that's the main thing. Sam loved playing, good schedule. We've tried to continue that. We haven't been able to go to Florida or some of the places we went back in the 90s, but still, tri-state area play some of the top teams. So. And we played Blair. Wheeling Park and Blair was the top game in the Ohio Valley for probably about 15 years, probably from 1990 to the mid-2000s. And now we've been playing St. Clairsville in multiple sports and have a nice little rivalry with them.
Yeah, and that's the hope with the Park game. We schedule it the week after the OVAC for a reason. Hopefully one day it'll be 5A versus 4A champs the following week.
How's it feel taking over for your dad, though? Was it tough or was it easier? Because got you into that?
I don't know what it was like for Jeb to take over for Coach Andy, but from my standpoint, yeah, I felt like it was pretty seamless. We're doing the same things, we're speaking the same language that we did. He still comes to all the games. If I need some help, sometimes even when I don't think I need some help, he's willing to give it to me. So it's been pretty seamless. He still teaches at the school too, so he knows the kids, and yeah, it's been a good transition.
How about you, JR?
We were really terrible after my uncle left. There weren't a lot of players in the old holster, But it wasn't hard. We did it like Ryan said. We did all the same things. I've learned from him and not really anyone else. So I don't know any better. So.
And my segue, you pretty much stole my segue. I'll start with you, Coach Wojcik. Just talking about the players. From the four of you, just give me a little bit about your feelings about the state of basketball in the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, well, personally, just being back here now, I think there's talent all over the place in West Virginia and Ohio and in the Valley. I think the teams are good. I mean, we just played an East Liverpool team who I think's got really good talent. And I think Steubenville is always going to have their athletes like they had. And obviously, these three guys sitting to the right of me have players. Park's really good, and St. Clairsville has guys. So I think overall, I think the state is good. I think the one thing we have to do a better job of is teach the game more to these kids. I think these kids today, and that's not just here in the Valley, it's everywhere, it's across the country, they don't know how to play as far as an IQ. And I think as a coach, that's our responsibility. To try to teach them what's a back screen. I got some guys who don't even know what a back screen was when I told them. So I think that's the one thing that's lost. But as far as talent, there's talent around the Valley. I just think we have, as coaches, we have to do a better job of teaching the game.
Yeah, my son is a freshman, so I've been fortunate to see pretty much every kid from every school all the way through. There are good players everywhere. You can point to the senior and the junior classes, but we play a lot of sophomores, and there are a lot of good sophomores in the Valley. So that bodes well for the next two seasons after this. The freshman class has a lot of players. There's good, the cupboard is not bare in the area here.
I just think that the more you play, and now like when we grew up, there was a lot of pickup. For Belle Isle, Wheeling Island, Garden Park, and Warwood, and there was just a lot of pickup. I learned to play the downtown Y against guys that were older than me. I just learned how to play. Maybe that's lost a little bit. But there's more AAU. Anybody can start an AAU team now, which is good. But in terms of the pickup and the playing against the older guys, I think that's maybe the one drawback. So, but we do have to, the kids just sometimes the IQ. We've got a boy on our team who's got an extremely high IQ at basketball, Aiden Davis, and he's been playing since he's been probably 3 or 4 years old. His dad was quite possibly the best athlete out in the Valley the last 30 years, and he's brought him up and coached him, and he's the only thing that as a sophomore about him is grade and age. He plays much smarter at a higher level. So, and he makes our other guys better, and we've got some seniors that have been there. But just playing pickup, I think is. I drove by Garden Park the other day. They got glass backboards. I haven't seen anyone shoot on them yet. we had the wooden backboards up there, but
I think to that point too, some of the toughness isn't there. And it's hard to teach that. I grew up in Belair, and we'd go down to First Ward and play, and you won or you lost, you sat, and a lot of times if you lost, you fought too. and some of that, and it's hard to get that in practice. You have to make things that much harder on them to try to get that toughness.
I know me and Coach Jebby was talking about it. I used to come to Bel Air to play pickup at their gym.
Sunday morning.
Pick up basketball games at the high shaft or drive down to Wheeling and play. And then, like you said, if there was a foul, there was a fight.
Yeah.
That's where you got tough at.
Joey Galloway waited in the alley with his 4 other players. He came in, and that was his foul.
Yeah. I think you guys are all hitting it on the button. We talk about going to summer camps and AAU. I agree with all you guys' comments. I think getting back to pickup basketball where you're playing against older people and you're getting tougher because you can't touch it.
You know what else is lost is leadership. There's no one that goes and says, all right, you're on that team, I'm on this team, move together. Everyone has to have everything laid out. Your game's at 10 o'clock. Here's your uniform. Your name's on the back. Hey, we're going to Chick-fil-A, win or lose.
You know, and I just to piggyback off of what you said, Coach Wojcik, I believe, and not a detriment to any coaches or players, but with the age of and one and all the street ball, you see, just me and Billy talk about all the time. You don't see like you said, the back screens. Well, we're always screaming out, hey, if this kid would have reached out with his front hand instead of his back hand, he had a steal. Peripheral vision. You know, how's that ball getting across all the way across the lane when that guy's on the other side of the court? Little things like that. It just seems are lost because of some of the things you see on TV. Would I be correct in that, or I mean?
There's no doubt. I mean, as good as he is, and he's changed the game, Steph Curry, and I'm a bigger fan of Steph Curry, but it's really hurt a little bit because these kids all think they can shoot threes, and now you look at the best player coming out, 7'4" kid, he's shooting threes, taking it off the dribble. Now, credit, these kids are much bigger, stronger, and athletic than we ever were, and they're more talented than we were, but what's lost is the inside game and the presence and how to play, and everything's just handoffs and picks and rolls. And I think we have to. I think it'll come back. I really do, because I think history repeats. And you look at the best player, arguably in college basketball right now, is the Edey kid from Purdue. So where is that going to go? Where does that translate here a year from now when he's going to the NBA?
A second-round pick.
That's
what they said. We're talking about yesterday. 7'4" is going to be a second-round pick in the NBA,
and that's unbelievable. Yeah. So I do think that it's changed a lot, the game, and I think we just have to do a better job. And the word I use in my program a lot with my guys is accountability, man. I'm holding those guys accountable, and they got to hold each other accountable. And I think that's what's lost. And I think maybe JR mentioned that about leadership. That's leadership. Like, you got to have guys calling guys out, and I think kids today are afraid to do that, to hold each other accountable.
Go ahead, JR. I know you were ready.
No, I agree with Woj. Steph Curry, I've said this. I could go on for days. He is probably the best and worst thing that's ever happened to basketball. He takes shots that are terrible shots that go in, and I got guys that think they can make those. They can't. They can't make them in warm-ups. They can't make them in the gym if I left them there all day for a week.
Just for the record, JR was like that at West Liberty, too. So I had to control him a little bit on that.
I mean, you know how they said Dean Smith's the only guy that could hold Jordan under 20? He was killing me. But I had a roommate who's a real good player who's coaching in Hawaii right now, and I'm in Bel Air, so he was a lot smarter than me, too.
Well, I agree with all you. I agree with that totally. It's tough to watch the NBA. I think you hit it right on the button, Coach Woj. They come down, you know exactly what everybody's going to run. We're going to run a screen and roll at the top of the key, and we're going to drive and penetrate off of it. And who's stopping LeBron James coming down the lane, 6'8", 235 pounds of pure muscle? It's a screen and roll game now. What everybody runs. And hell, I watched the Michigan Ohio State game today. If I could kept track of how many screen and rolls Michigan ran, it looked like an NBA offense.
Hey, if Woj plays his cards right, his brother might get that Ohio State job because Holtman ain't going to be there much longer.
Did you listen to the game today? He was like, I think the guy from Villanova, Villanova, Jay Wright, was doing the game, and he was loving this Ohio State coach. He was they're young. I'm going, them kids ain't staying. If they're not winning, they're leaving. You know, he got a great recruiting class, and that ain't going to help you. You can just leave whenever you want now. So, you know, it's just tough watching basketball sometimes when you screen and roll. That's why I like watching high school basketball, because at least it's pure. You know, it's pure basketball. You know, it might not be the best basketball, but, you know, it's pure.
Well, and you're talking to four guys up here whose teams all score the ball,
that's
too.
True.
Our teams are never going to be ones to 47 passes and
flinging it. We're flinging it.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to ask, just changing pace a little bit here. Honestly, just to keep it going too. How do you guys feel? You know, I know it was voted on Ohio and voted down, the NIL for high school, but just not in high school, but at college too. What's your feelings on that? Anyone wants to go first?
For high school kids, I don't know. It may be a bit much.
Because some states have
yeah.
that now.
Yeah, they do. They have a hard time remembering what time practice is, let alone their Gula's sponsorship deal down in Blair.
I mean, I'm trying to get that sponsorship deal, and they won't give it to me. I mean, I take 6 free hot dogs a week. And
Bingo. Yeah.
I mean, initially with college, I think it was for the players to get sponsorships, and
Yeah.
I mean, WVU gave their quarterback $400,000 to come to WVU. He wasn't worth any
$1.
of that. No. So then, what's that do to your team and the chemistry in the locker room when that guy's getting that kind of money and paid? And I don't know. I just think it's out of control.
I agree totally.
So
I
to
agree.
high school, that would be just,
Well,
especially in like the state of Ohio, just
yeah.
picking kids
well,
off.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I think West Virginia, the government passed that you can get a 1-year transfer now. Is that? I heard that.
I don't know if it's gotten to that level, but it's been, it's
Yeah, I
been
see
talked
that
about.
you can get a 1-year transfer in West Virginia, but that what do you guys call your SSAC hasn't adopted?
We're first in obesity. We're leading the country in drug overdose, but we're worried about transfer rule. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
we're just behind in some things.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't understand how it's coming down to now everybody wants money. You know, why can't we when we just go play for the love of the game sometimes? And I get it, and I get when kids say, well, we bring a lot of money into the stadium in college football and college basketball. I get it. But like you said, how do you have some team chemistry when JR is making $5 million, you're making lunch, you know, and that's tough. Or when your quarterback from Ohio State's got to buy your offensive lineman suits to go to a dinner because he's making $10 million and you guys ain't getting nothing but lunch. You know?
Our guys should just be happy with some travel gear, maybe a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
You know, that's at the high school level. That's
couldn't
what
wait.
you should be.
I couldn't wait to get my Chuck Taylors from Charlie Watt at Big Red. that's how I mean.
We can't afford to buy our kids shoes anymore. They get the expensive ones.
Yeah, that's getting out of hand too. I won't even go into that. Just changing, gears here a little bit too. I wanted to ask you guys, you've all been around, you've all played the game. I mean, you're all studs. You've coached the game now too. Give me from your playing days first, when you played, probably the greatest high school basketball player that you can remember, just personally against you. I mean,
Gino Ford
I'm with that. I second that.
murdered guys at 5'6", 125 pounds.
I still have bad dreams about him scoring 51 at the
In the arena, I was there. Who was the guy that clotheslined him?
Trey Hargrove.
Remember that? He
crushed
drove
him.
in, had a layup,
crushed
he
him.
clotheslined
He
him.
crushed him.
My freshman year, we played Gino at our place. He had 13 at the end of regulation. Went into triple overtime. He ended with 39.
I think I remember that. 26 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
How about you,
He
Mike?
was in foul trouble though, so we kept scoring. So that's how we stayed in the game because he wouldn't guard, so he didn't foul out.
How about you, Michael?
Probably Steve. We played Steve Logan, who played at Lakewood St. Edward in 4 years for Huggins at Cincinnati. And then when I was a senior, Tamar Slay was the player of the year. Played at Marshall, got drafted by the Nets. And that, I mean, we just put. I mean, you got Edwin Young and Jose Davis and guys. Those were more of like, Eastern Ohio and local area. They were good players too. I mean, so the list we've played against a lot. I'm trying to think. Also, St. Edward's had a guy named Sam Clancy who went to USC and Steve Lepore who went to I think Northwestern. They were all three seniors in the starting lineup. So those are some of the names that come to mind for sure.
When we made it to Columbus 10 years ago, we played against Dakota Mathias. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year at Purdue, and he was a sophomore. He was the third best player on that team at Elida.
Wow.
So he was a pretty good player.
How about you, Coach Woj?
Yeah, one guy comes to mind for me is Sean Jackson. He played for Huntington Vincent back in the day. Went on to play at Princeton is where he went. He was a good player, could score the ball, about 6'2" guard. The other kid would be a kid from Williamson. We had a lot of battles back in the day with Williamson. Anthony can't remember his
Struthers.
last name. Yeah, Anthony Struthers. Thanks.
I was there when you fouled out, and he hit a jumper on the baseline. They were up 10. Listen, Woj was a player. Hey, Woj was a player.
Oh, I
Don't kid yourself.
remember him. I remember.
So
yeah.
he fouls out, and they start pressing and come back, and that Struthers hits a jumper on the baseline. I can remember like it's yesterday. Hits it and goes right into the student section.
Well, there's a reason I forgot his name. And you're bringing it back up.
But you won the next year.
That's a bad memory.
Henry Bishop, he locked up at Jackson.
That's
He
right.
couldn't score on him.
You're right, JR. But those two guys are probably two guys who were pretty good when we played, who I played against head to head.
There was a name I left off. Just to tell you how times have changed, we scrimmaged against St. Albans. They had a kid named Brett Nelson,
I remember.
who was a
yeah.
McDonald's All-American, went to Florida. So this is December 1996. You know, there's no social media.
Yeah.
He comes up to our gym. Sam Andy didn't say one word. I mean, he had to know who the kid was because he's friends with the coach. We have no idea who this number 10 is. Rafael Cruz tried to guard him. I tried to guard him. Jelani Galloway tried to guard him. None of us could, and he ended up with about 35 points. If he was coming through today, we'd know who he was in the 6th grade.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
And he was a sophomore because freshmen were still in junior highs then. And then he ended up going to Florida, and they made the national championship game. I think they lost to Michigan State that year.
Head coach at Holy Cross right now.
Yeah.
That's where he is.
Think about this. If he was coming up nowadays, would he even have went to St. Albans?
Yeah, that's
Right.
exactly
Huntington
right.
Prep.
I mean,
maybe.
seriously, there's...
Or Lindsley, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be.
That might have been there.
Could be there.
Hey, I like the answers to all that.
What about you, Billy?
Oh man, I can tell you the toughest guy I've ever played against was playing park was McLeod. That sumbitch was so strong. I mean, you couldn't move him. But we played Pittsburgh Perry. I mean, we played against Will Macon, went to DePaul. We played against some good teams back then. The Big Red schedule's a lot different than it was in '92 when we're playing Pittsburgh Perry, Pittsburgh Farrell, Warren Harding. We're not playing those teams anymore. I mean, there was a lot of great players. But I tell you what, I had the best battles against Park. I like playing against Mike. You know, I like
Those
to
were
talk.
good games.
I like to talk, and he liked to talk. So we always had good times, and we played each other in baseball. So it was always fun to do it. But I played with a lot of great players too. I think, to me, I thought Bubba Donnelly was one of the best shooters that I've ever seen around, and I think Davis is close to him. You know, you give him a glimpse, and I think it's pretty much going in.
Yeah.
You know, but that's my
I
guys.
missed the games at the St. John Arena.
Ain't that something when you
I
listen
know
to
that.
pack
I only get to
out?
play one game there, but these guys get to play there a lot.
I tell you what, we played, and I was hurt. I actually didn't get to play. Jay Burson, we played them in the tournament, and it was standing room only in the St. John Arena. Down around the floor, they had rope up, so you know people would stand down there, and he lit us up out there. That's probably the toughest kid that
I got a
Going
story.
back to that tournament talk that we had earlier with the home court, now you don't get that St. John feel anymore.
How about Mr. Haskins? It's tournament basketball time. Jump, I love that. Wasn't that nice?
3-point premier basket.
Yes, that was high school basketball back then. I got a story for you, but JR, I don't want to bring it up, but I remember speaking to Jose's
gonna
team.
bring it up.
I have to bring it up to you, know, because Ray will be mad at me. I believe that they were 20-0.
Nah, that was-
19-1.
Something like that.
They
And
were the one
Nate
seed.
Johnson about killed Jose the first play of the game.
And they got the 1 seed, and it was Pills back then, and Big Red was what, 10-10? Had the 3rd or 4th pill.
Jumped right on
on Bel Air. And Raymond tells me that story 100 times, so you can.
Was Paul Hoover on that team, or he
No,
had
that
graduated?
was Monty Hoover, his younger brother,
And
Paul.
then who was the had the big post?
David
Dave
Brown.
Brown.
They had another
Neil
kid.
Carney.
dunked. Neil Carney was
They-
tough.
They were bigger. It was 10-10, but that was back in the day when they were playing Ferry, Perry. They were going to lose 10 games, but they were used to seeing Bel Air's. They were ready for that.
So they upset Belair, and Belair was the one roadblock that we had.
Yeah.
I was that same
Yeah.
age, so we're excited. We get to play Steubenville next. Next thing I know, I'm trying to take the charge, and on WTOV9, and Neil Carney jumps over top of me and two-hand dunks it right on the news.
Well, you got to tell Raymond that sometimes. I go, Bel Air was a great team, but for Big Red for being 10-10, if you looked at their schedule, who they lost to, if they would have,
I mean, you were still playing Brook twice back then, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they had a lot of good players, even after Gaudio left.
Yeah.
McAllister.
yeah, good basketball. Brook was really good. I mean, I bet you Park and Brook had some battles. I know
yeah.
in '91 and '92, I know they did with Gaudio and them.
Did you guys still
and
play
Yankee-
twice a year then?
And yeah, we did. We did. Yeah, it's not anymore. But
Not anymore.
That's a touchy situation.
But you talk about post players. You had Gaudio and Sargent and Yankee all in that
Oh, in
same
that
time
section,
frame.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was one team we never got to play. We never got to play against John Marshall.
Yeah.
Big Red. We never played them. I don't know why.
Yeah, they've been playing as of late.
Yeah. That's lately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lately. Yeah.
We were in the ECOL then. We hardly played local. We went out to Dover and
Yeah.
played those teams all through my high school days.
You don't want to play Dover no more. Like Coach Jebby, we were talking before. You get down 8, feels like 30.
Yeah, it's no fun.
No.
Dover puts those two hands on you, and you're not going anywhere.
No.
It's a foul all year unless you play Dover. Then
It's a foul.
is expected.
Whoa, did you play Dover this year or no?
We did not play them.
You
Played
played
them
what?
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like to foul.
Then you
They're
guys
a good team. He does a good
Oh,
job.
no, they're real good, but I
They're a
mean-
good team.
They're physical.
They're physical.
See, I like that. Me and Billy go about that all the time. I like that old physical, man-to-man in your face. I'm going to foul you.
Sometimes physical's a foul, though. Sometimes
Yes.
it's a foul.
Well, you're talking offensive guys again.
see,
We're talking
I-
offensive guys.
I couldn't shoot. I was a defensive player, so that's why I was. Now we talked about give me some of your memories. Just back to your teammates. You know, if you can think of one teammate. I remember like seeing Troy Smith my senior year going to the hole. He jumped. The guy jumped a block and did a 360 spin in midair, and then shot the layup. And we were all just stood in awe. We're like, can you just do that? Just give me a memory about, I like to get on memory lane.
I mean, just for me, I played high school with Rafael Cruz for 3 years. We made each other better. He was a left-handed guard, went to Massachusetts and then to Youngstown State. And some people may not know this. When I went on to play West Liberty, I played with two of the best three-point shooters ever in the state of Ohio, and Jerry Amarante and J.T. Hoying were teammates of mine. So just playing with good players obviously is going to help you.
Anybody else?
Who'd you play with, JR? I know you had.
Oh, the one I got to pick is, you all know him, is Scotty Coyne. He's no longer with us, but he was a great player at Belair. And my favorite Scotty Coyne story, and we're playing Indian Valley in the sectional final. They're ranked pretty high. We're beating them. It's a close game at the end. They keep fouling Scotty Coyne to go to the foul line. He's at the foul line. He makes one, makes another one. They foul him again. He makes two more. They foul him again. He goes to shoot his fifth one. He goes, hey. He looks at the guy from Indian Valley and goes, I've never made this many in a row before. and drained two more on him. I mean, he was a jack-off extraordinaire. But they kept fouling him. He kept making them. And Big Red's moved on.
JR always tells a story when he was in the regional. That was your senior year. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. So Jerry and I were sitting up in the.
And Justin.
And Justin, yeah, my brother, were sitting up there, the convo. It was late in the game. I don't remember what happened.
I make two free throws to put us up. Two. They're jumping up and down in the corner and the thing. Sparta Highland goes down. They got a 7'2" guy named Jason Terry. He's killing us. He scores.
Went to Indiana, right?
Indiana or OU. Well, they bring it down. We're holding it for the last shot. We got him. We're going to get the last shot, win it. Unfortunately, we throw it away to go the way and make a layup, but those guys, they were jumping up and down. They thought we were going to go to Columbus. We did go the next week, but we went to watch. And then Ryan almost got killed that weekend. Him and Jaron Justin went swimming, and my uncle stayed there, and we went and watched some of the games. When we come back, Ryan had gotten his shoes stolen at the pool. So Kim's mad at him. Kim's like, oh my God. He goes, I hope you learned a lesson from this. And Ryan looks at him and goes, what? Yeah, to wear my shoes when I go swimming.
Oh, jeez.
Kim went over the bed ready to choke him.
I had to wear, you're at the state tournament, so all you have is shoes, sweats, and stuff like that. And I had to wear my dad's penny loafers for the entire weekend because of my mouth.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Well, Coach Woe, since you've done some colleges, you've coached in some colleges. How about some players that you've seen in college that were pretty good?
Yeah. Oh wow. I was fortunate to coach a few guys that could play. Ish Smith played at Wake Forest. He's in the league now. Brandon Clark was probably my most interesting kid that I recruited. Most kid I've ever watched in summer. He's with the Memphis Grizzlies right now. Didn't have a single scholarship offer. and he was from Phoenix, Arizona, and I was the head coach at San Jose State. And I just, after the 15th time, I just told my assistants, he doesn't do anything great. He just does everything well. 6'8", plays center, and that's what tells you about the league now. He's 6'7", and he's a post guy.
Yeah.
5-man. And but he was a kid. He was the best, by far, any kid I've ever seen in all my years. He could get off the floor twice before your first jump. It was incredible. He's probably the most talented kid that I had.
Now I wanted to ask you guys too. I'm not going to keep you much longer, but just we talked about the state of the game, and I don't know. I had a football coach tell me earlier this year, I can't coach like I used to. Some of the things that you used to be able to do or say and get away with, you can't do anymore. Do you guys feel? I mean, you've had to change your coaching styles over the years, or are things different where I could yell and scream a little bit more, or when I had to. Now you can't. Even
I can answer that one. I've totally changed from the standpoint of getting really upset with kids at whether a game. You do have to watch what you say nowadays. I think kids are much more sensitive, but more so the parents are sensitive. The one thing that I haven't changed, and I never will change, is holding kids accountable. I think you have to do it in a different way today, whereas maybe 15 years ago you could freaking yell and, cuss a little bit and this and that. I just don't think you can do that in today's age. So I've changed from that standpoint, from not so much getting into their face and challenging them like we all did. My coaches challenged me and got in my face at times, and that's how we responded. Kids don't respond like that to nowadays. They sort of, in my experiences, they shut down when you do that to them. And so from my standpoint, I've changed a lot over the years.
It's been my experience that as long as they know you're with them in the end, they can take it. They might not like it, but that's okay. You don't have to be their friend.
Exactly.
But if they know you've got their back in the end, that you can coach them.
Yeah, I think kids want structure. They want discipline. Sometimes they may not get it all at home. But in terms of berating kids and screaming at them, it's just a different era, and I think that opens up some of the stuff for the college and the transfer portal, and kids are just, if it doesn't work one place, they're out. So just being positive with the kids, and you just want it to be a good experience for them. A small percentage are going on to play at college, so that high school for most kids is the end of the road for them. So you want them to have a good experience. The 4 years are there.
I guess what I was getting at, I can remember, and I won't mention a coach's name at practice one day, football, when I was a lot slimmer. We ran a little trap play, and I got by the secondary. I started jogging, and he said, "Jenkins, come here." So I come over. He goes, "You're running good, ain't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're running hard." I said, "Yes, sir." "You ain't running hard enough." And he smacked me. The ball went flying. If you get by the secondary and jog like that, they'll run you down every single time. You sprint it, and I'm laying on my back going, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And so next week we got a scrimmage, same play, bam, and I sprinted through the end zone. I would have ran through the wall if I, but, and I guess that's what I'm getting at. He couldn't do that nowadays, but I learned from that, one smack and
My question is it the enrollment now? Because back, like I always say, is the enrollment being down hurt? Because I know in Steubenville, I'm just using Steubenville as an example. I mean, we had 30 kids. You're lucky to get 12 now. And then, like every coach now, you have to, at least when you're in high school, you got to have every athlete play probably 2 sports to make a team, which is okay. I agree with that. Some of them play 3 sports. Does that hurt? I think it helps because you're competing at something. You're always competing. I'm just trying to figure out, like, people always tell me, well, the mills are down and everybody's moving out. No one's staying around here, and that's why the talent's down. Or one sport's good. Football's always good in the Valley. Why can't basketball or baseball be that way? I just want to get you guys' opinion on it.
So we have 8 less seniors this year than we did my senior year in 1996. So our enrollment is pretty much stayed the same.
Yes.
But the success we've had in year out relies on a small number of kids playing football, basketball, baseball. If you look at our football team, the leading rusher is most of the time one of our starters, most of the time an outfielder on the baseball team. And we may be rare in that, but we still have that 3-sport mentality.
We encourage the kids to do multiple sports. I mean, our enrollment is down over the last 20 years. When I was in school, we were at 2,200 kids. We're still at 1,500. But there was a time frame there in the 90s where we would have 5 guys that just did basketball. Well, now Aiden Davis is football, basketball. Michael Davis, football, basketball. Brett Phillips, football, basketball. And then you have that mix of like a Cole Wilkinson who is at basketball only. So I think it's just kind of finding that mix. But I think doing multiple sports. I mean, when they have the NFL draft and they flash up all
stats,
the guys, they're all doing 2-3 sports in high school. So it's important.
Aiden Davis, pretty good baseball player too. Just thought I'd tell you.
Yeah.
Just I know he don't play, but he's pretty good.
No
at
baseball. He's
It.
He's going to play AAU basketball.
I know he's pretty good at it. He's pretty good at that sport too.
I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
When our football team makes an extended run in this past year, we had 4 guys at basketball practice the first 2 weeks of practice. So
Wow, yeah.
we're relying on multiple sport guys, and we don't make our guys choose because
not fair.
they're not always going to choose you.
Yeah.
Cole Thoburn's a heck of a basketball player for us, but he also returned 7 punts for touchdowns in the fall. Why is that fair to make him? Make him pick?
How about you, JR?
Well, our enrollments numbers are bad. We're about 70 kids a class now, so we got to have all hands on deck. And, it's just how it is. Everyone plays 3 sports. Sometimes it's bad because they get to play 3 sports. There's no competition that someone's pushing them from behind. They don't put enough time in on their game, but it is what it is. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. I'd have to go somewhere else. The kids aren't changing. It's how it is.
Well, Coach Woj, it's got to be a little bit different for you because you can go out and get other kids. Is that correct? Is that how?
Yeah, that is true. But I think that goes back to a couple things here for me. I think we all talked about, Michael hit it earlier, you hit it about playing against older guys and going out on the courts and playing. I think these kids are getting, you have all these trainers, you have all these individual training stuff going on, whether it's a basketball guy, hey, they get in their ear and they tell them, hey, you're a basketball person. You're going to be a great wide receiver. So I think it's twofold in my mind. It's like you got that on one end, and then you got on the other end, you got all these coaches at the school saying, hey, you can play all 3. You can play 2. Me personally, I never tell a kid, I never have, never will, tell a kid, hey, you need to focus on this. As a matter of fact, we had a kid, Hayden Bosich, 6'6" kid. He's playing at Brown now, football. He wanted to play basketball. Played his first year, and he wanted to come out and stay in shape. And I actually told him, I said, hey, you're 6'6", 250. Your bread is going to be buttered in football. I actually told him, focus on your body and go play football. And that's what he did. And so I think it's totally up to the kid and the parents and nobody else. And if they want to play one sport or they want to play 3, really try hard not to get into
Picking that
that.
up.
But you're right about my situation.
Yeah.
I have 6, 7 kids who just play basketball, and they come to Lindsley because they want to just play basketball. So that's my situation there.
All right, we're gonna we'll wrap it up here with one last thing. Let you guys get out of here. Just closing statement, whatever you want to say. JR, you got something to say to Woj? Right.
They're going to get your Woj.
I'd like to thank everyone for letting us be here. Generations, thanks for letting us be here. It's a pleasure sitting next to you fine fellows here. And if the good Lord willing, we get to play Lindsley on Saturday, which I'm not saying we will because Ferry's really good. I hope Woj takes it easy on us.
I just like to wish all these guys good luck. I've pretty much known them my entire life, so the same thing. Get kids to play hard, share the basketball. We're watching film, we're scouting, we're prepping, and sometimes it bounces your way and sometimes it doesn't. And this is the fun part of the season. You get into February, down the stretch, the tournament's starting. Just an exciting time of year. So good luck to everyone. Thank you guys for putting us on.
Yeah, this is the time of year that you get refreshed. That last couple weeks of January, or like the dog days, I guess, of the season, that bracket came out today. Everybody's got a new lease on life, I guess. So it'll be great. I hope JR and Woj playing against each other next Saturday. It'll be fun. JR, bring your passports. That they'll all have theirs.
Here's the problem: if we both play, the refs will yell at us because we're out in the court too much. I'm out there trying to stop the break because my team doesn't get back on defense. I'm just trying to help everyone out. I think Woj is out there helping the officials make some calls. That's what I think.
Funny story about JR this year. We played at our place, and the officials actually called him the next day and told him he was out of the coach's box way too much.
I think it's because I'm heavy. I used to be thin. Now I'm fat, so they're fat shaming me. I can't get off the court fast enough.
That's not right.
You were never quick. Never. You can look at it all you want and rationalize it.
I was trying to call a
You might be quicker now than in your playing days, to be honest with you. But I just want to thank you guys and the guys to the right of me. Wish them nothing but the best. And Michael's right. We're all in it for the same reasons and try to get kids better and try to win games, but ultimately give them a good experience. And it's funny how these guys all talk about the playoffs now and this and that, but I got some openings on my schedule next year if you guys want to play.
There you go.
I'm always
I'm
there.
full. I got to lose the game, as a matter of fact.
We got to wait till October 1 to see the roster.
That's you're smart. I don't know my roster until then. You're right. But thank you guys and appreciate Mike and Generations and all that.
I appreciate all you guys coming. I know it's a big, busy schedule, but I'm glad you guys showed up tonight. I wish you guys all the luck in the tournament. And I like the draw for St. Clairsville. I know, JR, you're going to have to play Caraway. They're pretty good. But good draws and good luck to Michael and good luck in the OVACs. That kid's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Well, everybody here, I want to thank the people here at Generations Restaurant and Pub, Mike DePlaga, also Mark Josephs for setting this up. I thank Coach Dave Wojcik from Lindsley, Ryan Clifford from St. Clairsville, J.R. Batista from Bel Air, and Michael Jebbia from Wheeling Park. Folks, join us tomorrow night from the Crimson Center when the Lady Steubenville Big Red take on. It's at Mickey Barber Gymnasium at Steubenville Catholic Central. Central Girls versus Steubenville Big Red Girls. And Tuesday night we'll be at Weir High School where Harrison Central Boys host. Weir High hosts Harrison Central in the OVAC semifinals. For Bill Ellis, Jason Jenkins, Dan Vogel, and Jim Jaggers Haggins up above. Have a great evening, everybody.